Hello guys, welcome back. So let's start with a new topic, that is muscles of lower leg. Muscles of lower leg, when we were doing the bones of lower leg, I said you in tibia and in fibula that we will be dividing them into the compartments. The compartments also I said you before only. So the compartments were which? The anterior compartment, the lateral compartment and the posterior compartment. So here you can see on the screen, I've already divided them into the columns, okay? So this anterior compartment, write down that it is also known as extensor compartment. What it is known as extensor compartment, because here the muscles present will help you in extending your lower leg. Okay. The posterior compartment muscles are also known as flexor compartment. What it is known as flexor compartment. Okay. Now let's know the nerve supply of it. For lateral compartment, you can say that it is also known as peroneal compartment. Now why it is so? Because peroneal, anything related to the fibula can be termed as peroneal. Okay. So starting first with the nerve supply of all the compartments. The anterior compartment is supplied by a deep peroneal nerve. Now this deep peroneal nerve we have already done when we were doing the sciatic nerves. Okay. So write down DPN for this deep peroneal nerve. Lateral compartment of the peroneal compartment is by the superficial peroneal nerve. By which? The superficial peroneal nerve. Okay. And this posterior compartment we know already that it was supplied by the tibial nerve. Okay. This was also done in the sciatic nerve video. Okay. So let's know about the muscles present in the anterior compartment. Starting first with the important muscle, that is anterior tibialis. So how to remember the muscles? First remember the bone present in the anterior region, which is the wide bone present in the anterior region, tibia. So the muscle is also known as anterior tibialis. Second comes, we are learning about which compartment? Extensor compartment, right? So write down extensor digitorum longus. The muscle will be long, right? It will run from your knee joint to your foot. So it should be long. It goes into your digits, fingers. So extensor digitorum longus. Third come extensor hallucis longus. Now what do you mean by hallucis? Hallucis means big toe. So write down the meaning for hallucis. It means big toe. And digit means what? Fingers. Okay. So extensor hallucis longus will go to your big toe. The fourth muscle is peroneus tertius. Now you might be wondering that I told you that peroneus is related to the fibula, but this is the muscle which is present in the anterior region, you have to remember, okay? It's present towards your tibia side, so that's why it comes under the anterior compartment. So now you know about the muscles of the anterior compartment. The anterior tibialis, first remember the bone, so you will remember the muscle. Then you have to remember that there should be a long muscle, and the compartment we are studying is extensor, and that muscle will go into your fingers, into your digits. So the muscle comes extensor digitorum longus. Then there is a muscle which will go into your big toe, therefore its term is extensor hallucis longus. Then you have one peroneus tertius. Now let's look at these muscles in the picture. So you have tibialis anterior present on the anterior side. Okay. You have extensor digitorum longus. You have extensor hallucis longus. And you have fibularis tertius. Now this fibularis tertius, peroneus, I said you, whenever there comes peroneus, instead of peroneus, you can write fibularis. Okay. So fibularis tertius and peroneus tertius is one and the same. This is the separate picture for the peroneus tertius. As you can see, it is present on the anterior side. It's related to the fibula as well. Okay. But it's present mostly on the anterior side. So that's why it comes under this compartment. So this is peroneus tertius. Okay. So I hope now this is clear. The anterior compartment is clear. And you have to remember, every muscle is supplied by deep peroneal nerve. So any problem in the anterior surface of the leg and sensation is affected or anything is affected, that time the nerve will be always deep peroneal nerve. So whenever they mention anterior, something anterior related to the leg part, you have to remember everything which I have written in this anterior compartment and accordingly answer the question. Okay. Now the lateral compartment muscles are two in number. One is peroneus longus. Okay, it is a long muscle. Peroneus, or you can call this fibularis longus. I told you whenever it's peroneus, you can instead write fibularis. So many a time in the options or in the question they mention it as fibularis instead of peroneus. Okay. And one is peroneus brevis. Longus means long, brevis means short. So write down the meaning for the brevis. It means short. Okay. And instead of peroneus brevis, you can write fibularis brevis also. And the nerve, it is superficial peroneal nerve. So whenever something in the question about the lateral, you have to remember this whole column and answer accordingly. Look at the picture. Peroneus longus present proximally. Peroneus brevis is present a little bit towards the shaft and the distal side. Okay. Most of the time they give the question as that the patient is not able to lift the foot from the lateral side. Okay. So from the lateral side, the answer comes as peroneus. So many times they give you peroneus longus and peroneus brevis together. Most of the time the answer is peroneus longus based on the question. Okay. So remember this, whenever they mention lateral side, you have to know it's related to peroneus longus or peroneus brevis, or it could be based on the nerve. So the nerve is superficial peroneal nerve. Now the posterior compartment, this posterior compartment is having superficial muscles and deep muscles. What it is having? Superficial muscles and deep muscles. Okay, the superficial muscles, it is also known as the muscles which are present in the superficially, they are also known as triceps surae. What is known as triceps surae? First of all, remember this posterior compartment is also known as flexor compartment. They also mention it as calf in the question. So calf is the posterior surface of the lower leg. So write down calf, posterior surface of lower leg. And this calf, in Latin, it is called as sura. What it is called as sura. So muscles here, it is called as triceps surae because it will have 3 muscles in it. Okay. So let's name this triceps surae now. First is gastrocnemius. And the another is soleus muscle. And you might be wondering, I wrote only 2 muscles, whereas there should be 3. So this gastrocnemius is having 2 parts. It is having a lateral part and a medial part. Okay, so now you can see a lateral gastrocnemius, medial gastrocnemius, soleus muscle. This all 3 together forms the triceps surae. Sura, you know now it is known as calf. Now what is calf? The posterior surface of the lower leg is known as calf. So do pay attention to what they are asking. Okay. Now this gastrocnemius muscle, write down. It is also known as sitting or dancing muscle. Or it is known as sitting or dancing muscle. And this soleus muscle, it is the peripheral heart of the body. It is the peripheral heart of the body. It is termed so because it helps you pump the blood back to the heart. Okay, so it pumps with a great force. Hence, it is termed as peripheral heart of the body. The soleus muscle origin we have already done when we were doing the tibial bone. I told you there is soleal line present on the posterior surface. So this soleal line is the origin for it, and it will insert in the Achilles tendon. Now this Achilles tendon we have done when we were doing the tarsals, right? I told you calcaneus bone on the posterior side have a calcaneal tuberosity where this Achilles tendon attaches. And this Achilles tendon, right on it, is also known as calcaneal tendon. But it is known as calcaneal tendon. And what it is the insertion site for soleus muscle. So soleus muscle will insert itself over here. So now you know the origin and the insertion of the soleus muscle. Okay. And this gastrocnemius, there is something special about this gastrocnemius lateral head. This gastrocnemius lateral head, it gives the sesamoid bone. It gives a sesamoid bone which is known as fabella. What it is known as? Fabella. What are the sesamoid bones which are embedded in the tendon? So tendon of the gastrocnemius lateral head will give fabella. Okay, so remember it also. Now lastly, the deep muscles, very easy. Starting first with the tibialis posterior. Main bone in our lower leg is tibia, right? Fibula, so we have only lateral compartment related to it. Okay, so tibialis posterior becomes your first muscle. So with the bone, remember the muscle. Right now talking about the posterior compartment, hence the muscle is tibialis posterior. Then which compartment we are talking about? Flexor compartment, right? This posterior is also known as flexor compartment. So flexor digitorum muscle should be long. So digitorum longus. Then comes flexor hallucis. What do you mean by hallucis? Hallucis means big toe. So this flexor hallucis goes into your big toe and supplies it. Okay. And the last muscle which comes here is popliteus. What it is? Popliteus. Okay. Popliteus muscle. So let's look at this in the picture. So here you can see gastrocnemius. Okay, gastrocnemius is having 2 heads. On the lateral side will have a lateral head. On the medial side will have a medial head. This lateral head tendon of the gastrocnemius will give rise to Fabella bone, which is a sesamoid bone. Okay, then you can see the soleus muscle, which is the peripheral heart of the body. Its origin, you can see, I told you there will be soleal line present. It will origin from there, and you can see this Achilles tendon, which is also known as calcaneal tendon. It will insert in this particular tendon. Okay. Then the deep muscles, you can see the popliteus muscle present over the popliteal fossa. You have soleus muscle, which is when you cut the soleus muscle, then you can see the deep muscles. Okay, you can see the fibularis longus, tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus. Okay, this fibularis longus and fibularis brevis is the part of the lateral compartment. We've already done fibularis. You can instead write peroneus. So that's it about the lower leg. I hope the muscles of it is clear to you. Thank you.